Hey y'all. Okay, let's get these hamburger steaks going. What I have done here, y'all, I have already patted out. I'm gonna do 4. I've already patted out 3, and I thought I would bring you on here with me to do the last one because I feel like if I don't, then I'll have some people ask me, how did you do your how'd you pat them out or whatever. So I thought, well, let me show one because I know I have new followers or maybe somebody that just struggles to get a good patty, you know. All right, so let's see. And I'll tell you one thing I struggle with, if you can't tell, is the size. Like, it seems like this one's bigger and then a little smaller and then a little smaller. I always struggle with seeing what size it is. So I'm going to try to make this one about the same size as that one. So I'm going to try to add a little to it. So this is about what I'm starting with. This one may be a little big, but hey, that's all right. So what I do, I just get it like this. It's in a ball, and I just kind of start mashing it like this gently, not too much, gently. And that way that beef in the middle isn't getting messed with very much, okay? If you overwork it, that's going to give you a tough burger or hamburger steak, whichever you're making, okay? So once I do that, then I just kind of roll it around like this. Just kind of smooth the edges like this right here. And now we have just a good ball like this, okay? And so then I just take it in my hand and I use my thumbs. Your thumbs are very important with this, and this finger right here, or all your fingers, but especially this one. And so I just start pressing it out like this, and then as I'm doing that, you're going to be pushing in on these little pieces where it's trying to split. You see what I'm saying? So just push as you go, as you're spinning it around. And then you just do to however thick or thin you want it, and you just kind of keep doing that, pushing it together. No, I mean, if they split a little bit, that's perfectly fine. They're going to a little bit whenever they cook, so don't, you know, spend too much time worrying about that. Just yeah, just like this, and then you just kind of keep going like that, pushing it together on the outside, kind of pushing it down on the inside, and then I'll kind of flip it over, do it like this, kind of tuck it all back in, and it's just that easy, y'all. And so you can see that meat isn't overworked. You don't want to do that because that's going to make it tough, like I said. And also, I know a lot of people may comment and say it'll hold together better if you use egg or, you know, this and that. Yes, I understand that, but if I'm making a hamburger steak, I don't want egg or breadcrumbs or anything like that in there. So here it is, and you can see it has some little places here, but that's okay. That's not that big of a deal. It's perfectly good. And y'all, I know y'all are still seeing that black speck there on my finger. That's a bruise under my nail. So don't think I have dirt under my nails patting out these patties. But anyway, yeah, this one is more along the size of that one, but it's okay. I mean, I'm going to cook these all together anyway, so the timing of them is not going to be that much different, 1 minute or 2, so I'm not worried about that. But I feel like if I go and put egg and breadcrumbs and all that stuff in a bowl and mix these all up, then I'm going to have more like a meatloaf, or like a meatloaf patty, rather, or like a Salisbury steak, okay? So that's why I don't do that if I'm just wanting to do just a plain, a good hamburger steak. Now, if I'm doing them, and I'm going to wash my hands in a minute. I'm just wiping this off for the time being. If I am fixing them like maybe to put in a gravy, kind of like a Salisbury steak deal, then I may add a lot of that stuff in there like that. But these, I'm just going to cook these in the skillet just like you would on a grill, and I'm going to toss in the peppers and onions. We're not going to do a gravy or anything like that. It's going to be, I want it to be like a dry consistency, with just a little bit of liquid, like the butter, and you know, I'm going to put in a little W sauce and soy sauce and that kind of stuff. But y'all get what I'm saying. This is not going to be one that's in a big pan of gravy. So when I get this skillet hot, we're going to put them in there, and we're going to go ahead and cook them the whole time. Get them good and done. It's not going to be a searing process as if I were doing it with a gravy or like a Salisbury steak or whatever. And then we're going to we'll take them out, toss in our peppers and onions, and then put them back in. And that's just kind of how I want to do it tonight. I know there's tons of different ways to do it, and I've done it so many different times on here with y'all. So anyway, let me get my hands washed up. I'm going to get my skillet heated up. Y'all see this big beauty over here? This new skillet? I know we don't need a skillet nowhere near this big for these, but of course I wanted to use it. Look at this thing, y'all. I'm telling you, that picture didn't even do it justice for how big it is. All right, so you see I'm standing here. Look how big this thing is. I mean, it is huge. I love it. I'll probably be cooking soups in that thing and everything else. Anyway, let me wash my hands. I've already been all over touching everything in here, and I'm sure there'll be somebody let me know. But anyway, I'll be back in a second. Hey y'all, I guess I'm crazy tonight. I didn't even realize we hadn't even seasoned these up. I already had my skillet getting hot, and I thought, well, I've got to put that on hold for a second. So we're just going to do some of our Greek seasoning, this Cavender's. Y'all know that I love so much. It's really, really good on burgers and that sort of stuff. So I'm just going to sprinkle some of that on. I'm going to do some of this. I'm debating if I want to do this because it has salt in it. And that Cavender's has salt too. So let me think about it for a second. I certainly don't want to get them too salty. This is just some black pepper. Oh man, let's see. How much does it have in it? Let me look at my other one real quick. I'm sorry, y'all. I just kind of changed my mind about it last minute. And I have another one that may have less salt in it, but I can't find it. Hang on just a second. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, y'all. So y'all know I use this on my burgers a lot whenever we grill burgers or whatever. This is the Butcher's Burger Blend. This has like almost half the amount of sodium as the other one has. So I'm going to go with this one. So just really, you season your burgers with whatever you, and I'm going to lightly season with this because I know this Cavender's has a great flavor. So I'm going to just lightly do this one. And then what I'm going to do is take a little bit of our W sauce, and I'm just going to put just a splash, like that on each one, and that way I can kind of rub that seasoning in there, just like that, like I would normally do on my pork chops or whatever with a little bit of oil. Instead of doing oil, I'm doing the W sauce. And this just kind of helps get it down in there so it doesn't fall off. Anyway, y'all, I'm going to do the exact same thing to the next side, the other side, and I'll come back and we will get them. Let me show you what it looks like. Let's see here. Let me pick this big one up. That last one I made is the biggest one of all. Look at it. It look good. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get these finished up, and I will be back in just a second. Let's do my thumb here. Okay, y'all, let's start putting these in here. I think it's getting pretty hot. And in my skillet here, I did just a drizzle of oil and just a small little, like maybe half a tablespoon of butter, just to give it a little something in the skillet. I know they're going to cook out their own fat, but I like to put a little something in there to get them going. All right. I think these 4 are going to fit in there perfectly. And with this being ground chuck, they're not going to cook down too much, but of course they will cook down. And what I like to do is keep them up on this higher temperature right now and kind of let them form a little bit of a crust on the outside. And once they do that, I will turn them down and then kind of let them finish cooking through and through on a lower temperature. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I don't eat hamburger, or if you call it ground beef or whichever, unless it's well done. Now, if you want to cook yours for a lesser time, you can. You know, like when you go to a restaurant and you get usually they call it chopped steak, but they say, you know, how you want it cooked. I mean, I'm always like, well done. Y'all let me know about y'all. What do you think? I don't know. I can't stand to think about ground beef not being done. But, you know, it's a preference. Everybody has their own. Anyway, y'all, I'm just going to and I want y'all to look. This thing right here, it don't even fit over. I thought, well, that's kind of useless, but maybe I can do it just a little bit like that. But anyway, I'm just going to let these get going, y'all. And if you can see here, I have my onions, peppers, and mushrooms ready to go in. And then in my other little skillet back here, I'm going to saute up some zucchini and squash. This is just one of each. And I have a little potato in the oven for just a little loaded up baked potato. Anyway, I'll be back, y'all. Okay, y'all, we're going to do our first little flip. Let me set this aside over here. And what I'm going to do, I like to take a little something else to kind of give you something to kind of hold it on there. And flip it like that. Oh, yeah. That looks good. Now I have turned it back down just a little bit so that other side can get going, and then I will turn it back up so it can get that little bit of crust on it too, okay? So let me show you what I'm talking about. How I like, see, now you may not like that, and that's okay if you don't, but I do. So I'm going to let them cook for, and I'm going to drain some of this grease out here in just a second because we don't want all that in there. And then I'm going to throw in a little bit of butter, some W sauce, and maybe a little bit of soy sauce to cook in there with it. But I'll be back. All right, y'all, I got that fat out of there. As you can see, there was a ton of it in there. So I went on ahead and just poured that out. I love having this little spigot right here because, or sprout, it came right out. So super easy. I wish I would have turned the camera on just so you could have seen how easy it was, but I will next time. I just put a tiny little piece of butter in there, and now I'm going to drizzle in just a splash of W sauce. Not much, like that. And a little bit of soy sauce. And I have the light, here's the light sodium, just because we're using so many things with sodium in it. Just a little sprinkle of that. And whatever we have left in here now will be fine because we're going to cook our veggies in it, okay? So, because most of all that grease is cooked out of our burgers now, so I'm just going to let them sit in here and cook for just a minute, make sure they're completely done. And have it down low, that way they can kind of, they'll still be tender. And I'll come back in a second, y'all. We're going to get those out, put our veggies in, and we got to get our veggies going back here too. Okay, y'all, let's go ahead and get our hamburger steaks out. As you can see here, they are ready. I'm just going to sit them on this plate here. It smells so good. Alright, you see, we only have a little bit left in there because I drained most of that out. What we're going to do is put in some butter. I'm going to lay some foil over them so they'll hold all that good moisture in. We're going to take our veggies, dump them in there. Just going to get up all that good stuff off the bottom of the skillet. bit more butter than that. That wasn't even about a half a tablespoon. All right, now we're going to put in a good tablespoon. I'm going to turn them down, let them get going. And we're going to get these going back here too. I have a little bit of butter in that skillet. Can y'all see that there? And then I'm going to pop those in there, and we're going to be on our way, y'all. And for these, I'm going to season them. Let's see. I know we're going to do some black pepper. Just a little. And I think I'm going to use that Kinder's that I decided to not use on the burgers. Y'all, it has such a good flavor. That's what I love to put on my potatoes a lot of times. The buttery steakhouse. That's what I'm going to use, y'all. Camera. I'm sorry. When I get to moving it around a lot, I don't see where it's at always. Lord have mercy. Alright, so just a little black pepper and some of that buttery steakhouse, and then there's still flavor left in this skillet, so I think this will be plenty. Once they cook down a little bit, I will put in a splash of our sauces just like I did the hamburger steak. But not yet. I'm going to let them get going first. And I'm going to let this get going back here. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and put those in there. Like I said, this is just one squash, one zucchini going in. And I have this onion out here for my potato. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do is just let both of these cook. And I will be back, y'all. Okay, y'all, look at these veggies. Don't they look so good? Oh, they look good. I love peppers, onions, and mushrooms cooked like this. And now I'm just going to barely do a splash of both of these. I think that seasoning is going to be plenty, and the butter. So I'm talking about just a dash like that right there. And there's already some still left in there, so just like that. And that's all. You could probably even skip that if you wanted to. But I'm just going to let these continue to cook. Oh, they look good. Our veggies back here are getting going. And the only thing I'm going to do with these, y'all, is just kind of season them up a little bit, probably with that same buttery steakhouse season that I used on these. A little salt and pepper, and that's going to be it. Or a little garlic salt. I really like garlic salt on veggies like this, but they don't need much. I don't want these to be just over seasoned. So, I won't do much to those. But anyway, y'all, just getting everything here hanging out. I'm kind of washing some dishes over here, waiting on this, and I will be back. Alright, y'all, everything is cooking up great. Here are the zucchini and squash. They're cooking up good back here. I just did the one season, like I told y'all, the buttery garlic and a little bit of black pepper. And at the end, I will hit it with a little bit of garlic salt. And I will do the same with these over here with the garlic salt at the end. But now I'm going to go ahead. These have cooked great. You can see here. I'm going to go ahead and pop our steaks back in here and just let them sit here and hang out. Let them get back good and hot. And then we'll be ready to serve all this up. There's a little bit of butter and stuff still left in the bottom of this pan. So I may put a little bit more in here to help keep them moist. But this is our hamburger steak with our peppers and onions, y'all, and mushrooms. I don't always do mushrooms, but since I had to go to the store anyway, I went on ahead and grabbed some, because you know it's just not something I have on hand all the time like I have the other stuff. But anyway, yeah, when you put them back in here, just kind of smother some of those veggies over the top. I have it down really low, and what I will probably do, this here cooking up quick. I've got it way up, because you want these to saute. You don't want these to steam. You know, there's a lot of liquid that comes out of vegetables like this. And so if you have it too low, then they're just going to get really soft and soggy. You know what I'm talking about. So crank it up, and that way you don't give them time to do that, and you can get that good little searing color on there, okay? Let's see, I'm going to do a little bit. I think what I'm going to do on each hamburger steak, I'm gonna do just a small, like a little square of butter, like tiny, like these right here, just to give it some moisture. Alright, y'all, I've got extra. Who's coming to eat with me? Those are going to be so good. And then I'm going to pop the lid on there just to keep that heat in there and keep them good and hot, and it will kind of help those hamburger steaks tenderize a little bit, that steam. And they're just going to hang out while I finish these. I'm going to get our potato out in just a second. We're going to load it up. Okay, let's get all this plated up, and we've also got to fix our potato. But I want to tell y'all, you know, if you see there's somebody over there in the chair, I'm not going to say it right now, and I'm not going to make too much noise, but whenever I get this out and say it, I want y'all to see if we get a reaction, okay? I just want to see if she'll do it like she does with me all the time. Anyway, so I've made these 2 little potatoes. If you're a new follower and have never seen this, these are just Yukon Gold potatoes that I just season up with some oil and like a steak seasoning and some pepper, and just pop them in the oven and cook them. It depends on how quick I want to get them done. I may cook them at 300. I may cook them at 425, just depending on how much time I have, okay? But I love them because the skin on these, as I've said, is a lot softer and thinner, and well, I said it was, or I've got a dull knife here, one. And so I cook it like this because I just enjoy eating the whole thing instead of just a huge, big baked potato. And it's perfect whenever you have a lot of stuff like this. We've got the veggies, we've got veggies with the hamburger steak. So you really don't want a big, huge baked potato, you know, but these are really good. And they're good if you're cooking for a lot of people. You can just throw a lot of those in the oven, and everybody can kind of fix their own, you know, and they'll love them. And some of that seasoning, when you're kind of cutting it like this, some of that seasoning that you put on the outside kind of gets in the potato. Delicious, delicious, delicious. These are so good. I love them. I would pick that over a big, huge baked potato any day. All right, first thing we're going to do is season it up a little bit. Just a little. All right, we're going to do a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. I love a lot of black pepper on my baked potato. Isn't it funny that I don't like pepper on my mashed potatoes, but I love it on every other single kind that you could possibly put it on? I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm like that. You may have certain things that you like it on, and then you don't on others too. It's strange how we get that way. And these are just little bitty thin pieces of butter that I sliced up earlier so they could start getting, you know, room temperature, so they would melt good, because I like a lot of butter on it. Y'all can tell. All right, you ready? So now we're going to do some cheese. Well, that's it over there. What is that, Belle? I see you looking over here. I see you looking over here. Alright, y'all, let me give her a little bitty bite. There you go. Cheese. Oh, it's her favorite. Goodness gracious, she loves it. Oh, man, y'all. I love that girl more than anything. Alright, so now let's put some sour cream on here. I like a lot of sour cream too. Okay, and then green onion. I like to do a little bit of the green and the white, you know. Let's see. When it's real big like this, I would kind of cut through it at the end like that. Y'all see what I'm saying? And then cut it. And that way you have the smaller little pieces. Y'all love these little potatoes if you try them. They're so good. They said they're perfect for a cookout. Everybody just have their own little potato. Okay. All right, let's get, now I did overcook, I'll just go ahead and tell you, I did overcook my zucchini and squash. I turned it on too soon is what it was. Like I knew it whenever it was done, but it was, you know, it was too late. I thought, well, I've still got to wait on this and that, and I just didn't want it to get cold. So I kind of turned it on low. It kept cooking, and it just kind of got overcooked a little bit. The squash more than the zucchini, so that's why I'm mostly getting zucchini, because it's not as bad overcooked, but it's still good. It's just a little softer than what I would want it to be. Let's see. I'm gonna push this over. We still got our big hamburger steak we got to put on here. Let's see here. Y'all see how I did these? I went on ahead and just kind of topped them off with all of our good stuff. Let me get this one right here. And I know some of you may know, but the only steak that I eat a sauce on is a hamburger steak. I love A1 sauce on a hamburger steak, and I eat it on pulled pork sometimes. But aside from that, I never use a steak sauce. Just I used to keep it on hand because Kanan loved it on his steaks and just anything. He loved it on all kinds of stuff. But I do like it on my hamburger steak. Okay, and quite a bit of it too. Okay, y'all, look at our delicious little meal here. Ooh. I hope I didn't confuse y'all too much tonight. Like, I know I don't ever have exact recipes, but whenever I'm doing a recipe and something different or new showing y'all, I do try to have somewhat of a plan in place and an idea and different amounts and this and that. But like this tonight, I'm just cooking for myself, and so I'm just kind of all over the place, but that's just how I cook, y'all. I know y'all understand. I'm sure you're the same way in your kitchen. I'm just mixing up this little potato just a little bit. Like I said, I love it. I just eat the skin and all. I may not eat all of it, but some of it I do. Don't y'all? Try this hamburger steak. You don't need a knife. You can usually just cut these with your fork, unless you want to. Well, I can't get my fork to pick nothing up. Now this is still steaming. That's so good, y'all. I love a good hamburger steak. And you know what's funny? When I was young, years ago, I wouldn't dare hardly eat one, because even though I ate a lot of recipes that had hamburger or ground beef in it, I didn't like the flavor of ground beef. And I finally grew out. It was something that I finally overcome, and now I love it. It doesn't bother me. But for years, if something had ground beef in it and it wasn't just loaded up with seasonings and things to overpower that flavor of it, I wouldn't eat it. I mean, I just couldn't. I just didn't like it. But I finally got over that, and now I love it, and I love a hamburger steak. That's delicious, y'all. You see what I'm talking about here about the potato? Like, there's some of the skin there, and you just pick it all up and eat it. It's delicious. Let me try one of our soggy veggies here. So that's what I'm telling y'all. Don't ever think that I don't mess up dishes, because I certainly do all the time. So don't ever be hard on yourself if you do. Like I said, I'm my own worst critic. You probably are yours too, and I get it, but we all mess up. The flavor's still great. It's just really soft. Okay, y'all. I have kept y'all way too long. This video has ran way too long. And I know it's just because I've been just chatting and cooking and chatting and cooking and going back and forth. Anyway, y'all. Make you a hamburger steak. And if nothing else, make you some of these little potatoes. If you've never tried them, they're so good. And I don't think there was anything else that I wanted to tell y'all. Oh, there was. I knew there was something else I wanted to say. About the little, the rose bushes. I have them over here. Yeah, like I said, the one had like the leaves that were like bigger, like you would see like on a long stem rose. And then the other ones are smaller, kind of like a dime nickel size. And so I thought, I bet that one is the little small roses, which are beautiful too. But y'all let me know if that's something that you kind of look for to kind of know the difference, because they've not bloomed out yet, so I don't have any idea. And he's got way more other stuff over there. I'll have to take y'all with me one day and to give y'all a tour of that yard and the trees and the bushes. Y'all may know, I'm sure many of you will know way more about the stuff than I do. I mean, he's got hostas coming up. Like, I don't even know what all trees are blooming all in the yard. Ones today, they had like these big like pink blooms coming out, almost looking like a magnolia type deal. I don't know what they are, but I'm not that good at identifying a lot of stuff. I mean, some of the simpler things I can, but some of them I can't. But anyway, yeah, I've got them in my jar over here, and I thought, well, maybe there's a certain way you're supposed to cut it, where you're supposed to cut it. So I'm hoping some of y'all have let me know. I hadn't got around to getting to those comments yet, but I will. I'm going to enjoy my meal, and probably tonight whenever I go to bed, I'll kick back and I'll get on there and kind of read over everything. Anyway, I appreciate y'all, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.